one of the most centralised administrations in the developed world. Most of the decisions affecting British people are made just behind me. For the best part of 100 years, no one thought to question this. But what if decisions were made more locally?
Every other Western democracy has a separation between local government and central government, and that means that neither can tell each other what to do, as we have in our country, but they operate as partners, working together, for example on improving economic regeneration and job creation, working together to make life better for people locally, rather than what we have in the UK, which currently is one dominant partner and the other completely subservient and dependent. Well, it looks to me as though we're running our country as the last country in the empire, having to be told what to do by the centre. We're just as creative in Birmingham and Nottingham and Exeter and Cardiff or anywhere else in the UK. We can look after ourselves, particularly those issues that are definitely local. Far too many times Whitehall and Westminster tell local government what to do on education, on health, on a whole raft of things, even the double yellow lines on the high street. Get central government out of it and let the people who know the localities best deal with local issues.
Graham Allen is pretty sure of his point, local decisions for local people. But is he looking at the bigger picture?
The rewards are that you get a better result, you get more appropriate schemes, more appropriate investments at local level because they're driven by local conditions and situations rather than what someone in Whitehall thinks is the answer. The essence of localism is that you must let 1,000 flowers bloom, and that means that everyone will take their own individual approach, which is quite right. Some of those things won't, of course, work, but that's fine. That's implicit in localism. What you're looking for is those areas where things don't work, to learn from those areas where it does work. No localist, even the most ardent localist, would argue that central government should go all together. They will continue to, firstly, most importantly, set the framework within which local government and local councils can operate, but also they will have, there are certain services that can only be provided at central government level, defence, foreign service, and a strategic overview of how things are done. So, for instance, where major pieces of infrastructure are placed, airports is a good example. No one's suggesting that councils should have complete control over where national airports are placed.
The Select Committee wants to see local government financially independent. This will take an Act of Parliament, and it will mean the reconfiguring of the constitutional architecture of the British democratic system.
Well, I think this discussion has started as an academic discussion among think tanks and among public policy academics, and that's right. But I think it has now got the opportunity to be mainstreamed as a discussion about the relationship between central and local government. There are, on the government's agenda, discussions about the reform of the House of Lords and other constitutional changes. So I think the time is right to get this argument, move the argument from the academic world and the think tanks into the political mainstream in order to air the issues that we need to raise about driving forward localism in Britain.
I spoke with Philip Blond, director of think tank Respublica and a driving force of constitutional change in local government. He believes local decisions should be made by local people, and that independent local government, free from the restraints of Whitehall, will lead to a prosperous and modern society.
Britain is among the most centralised countries of the developed world. We need to radically flip that on its head, and we need to stop the centre determining not just what things are realised, but how they're realised. And we need to create a completely new, innovative, regional and indeed local structure. And if we can push budgets and power down to the lowest level and actually let people then look at the problems they have and say, goodness me, the way we've addressed them hasn't worked, you actually give people the chance to make a difference and to innovate and create solutions that are actually exactly right for the area in which they're going to be tried. I think you might say, if you're a cynic, actually interest in politics is receding. But as the interest in politics is receding, the list of problems that can't be addressed by politicians is growing. And people certainly care about their problems. They care about crime, they care about litter, they care about the look of their area, they care very much about everything. But the trouble is, what's gone wrong in our society is we've produced a proxy democracy. We've produced a democracy that claims to represent people, but effectively prevents them from participating in it. And what we need to do is have a true participative democracy and not let representation at the centre essentially destroy genuine, living, vivid, local democracy. So I think if people actually felt they could make a difference, and if they had the power to make a difference, then I think they would. The Localism Bill allows, for instance, areas to self-define themselves. It gives people the right to take over services that have been delivered to them. It creates the conditions for elected mayors, for example. It also gives the local government the power of competence, the power to do whatever it wishes as long as it's not prescribed or forbidden by central government. So we've already gone quite a long way, and I think the government's to be thanked and congratulated for that. But of course we need to do much, much more.
Birmingham City Council is the largest local authority in Western Europe. And if the supporters of independent local government had their way, it will have a lot more power and control. However, it is not clear that people have an appetite for constitutional reform. And in an age of austerity, do local authorities have the resources to take on such a role? The public consultation will last until October, but for now there are many questions still needing to be answered. This is Eva Quigley for the InformationDaily.tv in Victoria Square, Birmingham.